What's up, everybody? Welcome to the special edition of Play Hard and Love Big Radio. It is the Mindful Dudes, and I'm with my good buddy Dan Nevins. What's going on, dude?
Dude, feeling good, brother. Living the dream. Fake it till you make it, one day at a time, whatever you call it.
Are
It's
you feeling?
happening.
Are you feeling pretty mindful, dude?
I am feeling pretty mindful. Like, I actually am a little bit proud of how, at least the older I get and the sort of more into the mindfulness practices I get, how automatic it is.
Mm.
And I don't like, it's just normal. It's normal for me. Just I just feel like I have more patience, more, like all of those things. But I will say over this last week, I was busy at the Players Championship, hence all my gear. Like I feel like I'm in the zone. But I
Yeah,
had friends and people that I used to work with at the PGA Tour who like noticed a different way about me, and I hadn't seen these people in over a decade. And so that was a pretty stark reminder of I haven't always been this person.
yeah, got you. So, how did they tell you that?
Mhm.
Did they say, "Hey, Dan, I noticed
Yeah,
that"?
they're
What they tell
yeah.
you?
Sorry.
No,
Well,
hey,
they
man.
just they you were like you like you're. I think one of the comments I'll try to get verbatim was like, "You seem like a completely different person, in a good way." Not that anything was wrong before, like how people like do that,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
right.
Not that anything was bad or wrong before, but yeah, you seem more chill. I was like, yeah, it's probably the yoga. And some of these people didn't even know that I, went on to become a yoga teacher, and what I've been doing over the last decade. They just knew me as Dan, the military guy that helped with the PGA Tour's military activation initiatives across their tournaments. Like that's who I was, and yeah, so it was kind of neat to see that.
That's awesome, man. I mean, we do the work day in and day out, and it's not necessarily that easy for it's not that easy for me to always see the shifts that I'm making. But then when someone else sees
Hmm.
it, right, reinforces the work we've been doing.
Right. Amen.
Yeah,
Amen.
that's killer, dude. I love it. Well, I'm excited to hear about that, man. I like love
Mhm.
seeing the post with you. You were the caddy. You were caddying for Rory, right?
Yeah, randomly. Yeah, I get it was a very strange but very cool situation. So
Strange
the
but
one of
cool.
the yeah, strange but
Is that
cool. One of the
is that
title
like how would you say that that's how you would describe me?
I mean, it's not super wrong. If someone maybe not how I described you, I'd probably throw in a few more colorful adjectives. But if someone else described you as strange but cool, I'd be like, okay, I see it. I
Makes
see it.
sense. Makes sense. All
Makes
right.
sense. Makes
Okay,
sense.
so
I'm not
it's
a
so it's strange but cool experience.
yeah.
So
It
go
was
for it.
yeah. They were so Optum, which was it's a healthcare company, and they are the title sponsor of the Players Championship here in Ponte Vedra Beach at TPC Sawgrass, where I'm lucky enough to play golf still today. Well, not today, but currently, I guess is a better way to put it. They selected Wounded Warrior Project as their charity of the day, and if anybody knows me now, certainly you know me that I'm highly involved with Wounded Warrior Project. I used to work there. I'm still involved. I speak on their behalf. Do a lot of work with their national campaign team and some of the warrior facing events that they do. And I absolutely love that organization. Don't have a bad thing to say about them. But when they approached Wounded Warrior Project and they happen to say, hey, do you happen to have any, warriors that are like really into golf, et cetera, et cetera. And I seems like I came top of mind and I was the guy and they asked me and I was like, that sounds great. I'd love to do it. And then we back in November we filmed, and this is sort of like the story of how all of these things work that nobody really kind of knows unless you're the person doing it. And back in November we filmed all this content. So I told stories for over an hour. We talked so many different questions and so many different sort of narrative focused stories that I would talk about how I got hurt and what happened and then how I got involved with golf and then how I got involved with yoga and all of these stories. And then they filmed me hitting a bunch of like hundreds of golf shots, and then we hit so many putts and cameras. like 3 different movie cameras, still cameras, like a whole team of like probably like 7 or 8 people who are
Wow.
making all this stuff happen.
This is
And you know,
this is the PGA that filmed this, or
the,
Wounded Warriors, or who?
it was the PGA
The
Tour
PGA Tour
and
was filming this. Okay.
was filming this,
Yeah.
and Optum, the company. So they were sort of like they know what they wanted to do or create the sort of story around this. And so they, you know, they were like in partnership kind of filming this thing. And
Cool.
it was great experience. Absolutely wonderful experience. And then the whole concept was that on the Players Championship, on it was either supposed to be Tuesday or Wednesday. It turned out to be Tuesday, which was Military Appreciation Day, which, you know, the better day to do it thematically. That I was going to carry the bag for Rory, and I was like, "That's great." And I was like, "Man, 18 holes to walk with this big bag is a lot." But then you get to the day, and it's just like, "Oh no, you're going to meet him on 16, and then you'll do 17, and then like walk to 18." And I was like, "Well, that like anybody could do that."
No problem,
Uh,
man. No problem.
yeah, and it was great. And they had, you know, they mic you up and they do all those things, and then I try to tune those cameras out. But also in the situation where I'm meeting Rory and doing this, all of the cameras are behind me, so all I see is Harry, Rory's caddy, and we had a little moment. And I predicted Rory's win actually, and I felt it too. So I'm not going to say I'm not. I don't think I'm psychic or clairvoyant, but I was like, "Hey, we're going to repeat 2019." I could feel it. And then Harry, Rory's caddy, goes like, "Yeah, I hope so." Then I got to meet Rory, and then you know we just had a little bit of a conversation, which was, you know, fine. I didn't know what to talk about. Um, you know, we got in that situation where these cameras, they were all mic'd up, all these things. So because if it was unscripted and I just met Rory on the golf course, I would have said so many different things. I would have been like a little more dude, like I would have been a lot more dude in it. So we talked, like he didn't know, and like, you know, he's a busy guy. He doesn't get my whole backstory, or he doesn't watch those videos. He doesn't have time for that. So he's like, "Oh, you know, have you ever been here before?" I'm like, "I've been here a bunch of times." Like I love it. He's like, "Oh, do you play?" And I told him I play. I used to be a 6 handicap, but you know, I got sick, stage 3 colon cancer a couple of years ago, and just now getting back into playing. So my handicap's not quite there yet. Hopefully it'll get back.
Yeah.
And I said, but it was cool. I said, but my shoe game is strong. And I had these brand new, the newest drop of the Jordan golf shoes. And they are pretty sick.
They are
I could
sick. I
show you,
saw
but
those.
you saw those, right? So like
Yeah, the red and the black, and
red,
it's like,
black, and white.
oh,
Yeah.
those are sexy, man.
They are super sexy, right?
They got some good grip on them.
Yeah, they have. So I have 4 pairs of Jordan golf shoes. One, I'm a dude, so I kind of like Jordans. And if you're going to wear golf shoes, like I don't want to be fuddy duddy with the, you know, I do own some of, and I don't mean that like when I say grandpa golf shoes, I
Yeah.
mean it affectionately, right? So like classic. I do own some like really classic styles of golf shoes, but I prefer the ones where people go, "Oh, I love those!" Like you know, the sort of younger generation would like really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Um,
So you're like,
and the
hey,
cool,
but I got my shoe game is dialed in.
right? Like, hey, my golf game isn't where I want to be, but I look like I can play. Hey,
Fake it till you make it.
fake it till you make it, baby. Knowing's half the battle. All those other cliche things that you can say in that moment.
That's right.
Yeah. So it was really cool. It was really cool to, you know, it threw him off guard because I don't think these guys, and especially somebody Rory is like really composed, put together, class act. Like he doesn't know what to say, you know. And then, you know, we talked about golf, and well, I talked about golf, how golf really helped me overcome the invisible wounds of war, sort of the mental stuff. And Rory being a class act, he was like, yeah, golf is your safe space. Like, because he's Irish, so that's my best attempt at Irish
Do it
accent.
again. Do it again.
Yeah, golf is like your safe space. Yes, space. I mean, if Rory winds up watching this, I don't know, that's not an insult. I'm just trying to I'm Irish, so I feel like I'm allowed to do that.
You're certainly
But
allowed. Yeah.
yeah, thank you.
It was
And
good. It was good. It sounded good, man. I like that.
it
Could you?
sounded. I
Let's
feel
try a couple more.
safe.
Let's try. I'll give you a
All
couple,
right.
and you got to try it. Okay. Get
Okay.
it.
Ready?
Say, get in the hole.
Okay. Oh wait, get in the hole. Get in the hole. Maybe that's a little Scottish. Get in the hole, don't you know? Yeah. Oh, you ever been I've never been to Scotland because I'm saving it for a golf trip. But I did a Scottish fashion show years ago. I did it like for 3 different years that Sean Connery hosted. It was called Dress to Kilt. It's part of New York Fashion Week. And so like I'm
Love
in a
it.
kilt doing the whole thing. And I met a bunch of Scottish people there, and I'm like, I have no idea what you just said. They're saying, and I'm making that up, obviously, and I'm exaggerating, but that basically is what it sounded like to me. I'm like, I know you're saying English words, I know it, but I can't get them yet. I don't know exactly what you said. Can I tell you the best? I know we're going off topic here, but can I tell you that one of the best things about that Scottish fashion show thing that we did?
I'm sure there was a few, but I can't wait to hear the
All right.
best.
So
Yeah.
so this is a little below the line, but not really. But I think it's funny. I think people would appreciate it. So we're doing these news interviews. I think it was like a local channel or whatever, NBC, whatever. It doesn't really matter. And they asked me to do this interview. But before me, this same reporter was interviewing this full Scottish dude. And she's asking him whatever questions. I'm not really listening. And her last question, because now I was told that hey, I'm up next. So now I'm paying attention to what this guy's saying. And she asked him, she's like, so is it true about what true, authentic Scottish men wear under their kilt? He's like, and he's like, huh? He's like, well, she's, she kind of reframes, she goes, well, what do you wear under your kilt? And he goes, oh, on a good day, lipstick. I died. I died. She died. I died. Everybody around us died. It was legendary. Legendary. I'll let people fill in their own imagination of how that works. But
what was the name of that
classic.
event again? What was the name of that event?
Dressed to Kilt.
Dressed to Kilt. How about that?
Yeah. Yeah, because Sean Connery was dressed to kill, like when he was 007, and that was his sort of kind of deal. And so
he was kind of like I feel like he was a really good 007. My mom, I think, thought he was the sexiest. Like,
Yeah, I think so. I think so too. Yeah, I mean, he's got the swagger, the accent, especially a young, and not that age is bad, but like that. The young version of Sean Connery was
money, dude. Hard to replace that. Pierce Brosnan did pretty good later on. He did all right.
Yeah, too. I think he did too. And I actually, not that this means anything, but I sort of called it when they were doing it because I watched Moonlighting.
I don't know what that
Moonlighting? Is. What was no Remington Steele. Moonlighting was Bruce Willis. And he was like a detective, but Remington Steele and Pierce Brosnan was Remington Steele. Have you ever seen the show?
I've never seen that Moonlighting or Remington Steele.
I'm dating myself because they're both.
How old are you, man?
I'm 50. I'm 52.
Oh, dude. Okay,
I know. I look like I'm 27, but
we're 10 years apart, man. What day is your birthday?
December 22nd. First day of Capricorn.
22nd. Oh, no wonder.
Winter solstice, baby.
January 18th, last day of Capricorn.
Boom.
Dude, we're hitting it on the front end and on the back end.
And the back end. Boom, boom.
Bam. Wow, look at all these things that are happening. Okay, wait. So I don't know why we got on the
Dressed to kilt. It was because of Scottish and accents. And
the accent. Yeah. So back to Rory. Let's circle back to Rory on that. So you're out there and you got good shoe game and you track him and you predict the win. Then tell us a little bit more.
Well, it was great. It was so I predicted the win. He said, "Oh yeah, golf is just safe space," and I was like, I just like let it go. I'm like, well, yeah, but I wanted to, but the cameras and everything because he's just so put together. I want to be like, it's not a safe space. Like it's not like there's part of me that's like, we don't need safe space. Like I'm like. Our emotions and all the things that come up for us are our guiding principles that we should examine and not react to. You know, that's what I wanted to say, but we had to go. He had to hit a shot. We had to go, kind of move on. So that's sort of like one of the most things that, for some reason, sticks out about our interaction was that, you know, the way I said that golf helped me heal from the invisible wounds of war, and that he, rightfully so, from a certain perspective, was like, oh yeah, it's your safe space. And I'm like, not really, you know, like, not really. It's a space where I can sort of detach from. At that time in my life, when I found golf, I was dealing with, you know, losing my legs and losing good friends, and, you know, all of, you know, what gets lumped together as the invisible wounds of war.
Yeah.
And so, but there was nothing safe about it. It was more, well, in a way, maybe safe. There was freedom to just focus on this one. You're in the most beautiful landscape in the world, and it's landscape that man and women, like humans, created. They took natural beauty, and yeah, they sort of like did their way with it, which is its own thing. But they create, so it's like man-made beauty for this game. And, you know, the golf course is some of the most beautiful scenic places in the world.
Totally.
And so you sort of transport yourself. I mean, it's the furthest thing from a combat zone you can get is a golf course, right? And so that, just being in nature, seeing this beauty, is healing in itself. And then the game is so hard. Like, it's a bat and ball sport with the smallest ball and the crooked. You have like 14 different bats, and they're all different, and they're all crooked and weird. And you know, it's like, it's a perfect atmosphere to need to focus and be completely in the moment. Because if you're not, you're going to hit a bad shot. And so that was sort of, I would say, my first experience with like a mindful activity, and just doing it helped a ton. And that's the conversation I wish I could have had with Rory, but for time and you know, we couldn't have that conversation. But anyway, we finished that hole.
You mind if I say something about that? That's kind of interesting to me.
No, please do.
Oh, dude, what I like about what you're saying is that really, like, wherever you go, there you are. So, and what I love about golf is, again, yeah, like you're saying, all the different things you're saying, like, it's a challenge. You know, you have to be present. But then in the moment when you're not present, or you have a bad shot, maybe not you, when I have a bad shot, and I'm like, fuck, you know, and I get pissed off and all that kind of shit. That's how I'm reacting everywhere in my life. You know, it's like when I do something wrong in life, like when I have when I overstep in a conversation, or I don't present something the way that I wanted it to be presented, like right away, that's my natural reaction to that perceived mistake, you know? And so what I think is so cool about golf, or anything that we're doing, is that if you're really paying attention to your internal environment, like you're speaking to, and aware that you can use those moments as moments to grow and to get more present over time. Like we talked about at the very beginning of this, like over a 10-year, 20-year period of time, by using every aspect of life as an opportunity to grow, we shift as people, you know? So I love what you're saying, man. And that's cool. And I wish you had some time to do some inquiry with Rory right there. Like, hey, Rory,
hey, Rory. Pull
out your journal. Here's a pencil. Let's talk about this.
I want to know how he feels about, because it's his livelihood, and he's, you know, was number one in the world for over 100 weeks, you know, which is a really long time to be number one in the world. The only person that's beat him, I think, is Tiger in that category. I'm not really, don't quote me on that. I'm not really sure, but and he's fighting to get it back, because Scotty Scheffler comes on the scene and it's just dominating. And it makes, and like I heard Rory say this in his press conference, yeah, because, you know, I got to be behind the scenes for a lot of the stuff over this week. And, you know, when Scotty's sort of rise, for those you don't follow golf, Scotty Scheffler is a younger, super phenomenal golf player that took over number one in the world pretty handily. And it made people like Rory, who, you know, was, and I mean, and this is what's crazy. Rory's 35. And the conversation is about like how he's matured in the game of golf. And this conversation was it seemed like kind of Twilight-ish. And I was like offended. I was like offended for him. Like, what do you mean? 35, bro. Like it's a baby.
Like he's on the back end of his career in some way.
Yeah,
right?
like he's in the back end. And anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. But it said it inspired him to work harder. And now he's back, really working hard on his game, trying to get number one back. And I think that's really cool.
That's really cool. And I love the fact that youth does that. I have a lot of great friends that are younger than me, and they jump on the scene like yoga or marketing or business and whatnot. And I see what they're doing, and I'm like, damn, I could step up my game. And I would I want to watch these people grow and do what they're doing because I can learn from them. They've all had different experiences, but there's like this youthful energy that can sometimes get sucked out of me from like all the hard work and the grind. I'm like, I feel like I'm just getting my energy sucked from all the work I'm doing, but then I see what's possible. I'm like, sweet, so yeah, that's cool. That's cool that he's using that as I would only assume a professional like that would do, but in a career like that, but to really grow. It's amazing, man. It's probably why you're friends with me, right? Like 10 years younger than you. I motivate you and inspire you to get up and put your awesome shirt on and get here. Like, go for it. Yeah, baby.
You're not wrong. And it is a sort of, I noticed that like when I was younger, like the old heads were like, oh, why? Like they resist the newness that's coming because it's not the way that they did it when they were young. And I recognize that in myself. Like when computers first came out, man, that makes me sound old. But no, like for real. Like when computers first came out.
You were ripping music on Napster or something like that?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
were you burning CDs? Did you burn CDs?
I burned so many CDs and downloaded so many free songs from Napster. And
they're still looking for you. We better cut that out.
I think the statute of limitations has expired on those crimes. But like I used to be able to, which I probably still could do hardware wise, like break down a computer and put it back together, build a computer.
Yeah.
I understood all of the inner workings of most software. And then sort of like I peaked. I'm like in my early 20s and I'm like, oh, I've got it. And then you blink and the way technology goes is like, I don't understand any of it anymore. And now here comes AI, which I understand from a user perspective, but the learning and the neural nets that they've used to create AI, and this is like second nature for these young people who that's their field of study. But to me, I'm like, did humans get way smarter? Like, how did we get here? And then quantum computing, where you're like accessing information from, in theory, parallel universes, and that's why it's so fast. Like, I'm like, stop it. Holy, did we cross a line? Like, what happened? Like, so like, and that's that old head in me, and saying like, well, I need to get that out of the way and adopt a more open-minded learning sort of perspective. So I can continue to be in the fold and in the current of what's happening.
Yeah, dude, I get that. I'm with you. That's important. And then I would also fight for the importance of younger people learning from people who've been around longer in that sense and kind of finding a balance in it, because when I think about AI and all the stuff you're talking to, right? Yeah. Like it's crazy how it's developed in social media and the way that people market things and whatnot, and then when I look at that, what I see and I think is missing more than anything right now, Dan, is a level of personalization. Like it's so amazing that we can record this from across the country and we can share how mindful of dudes we are, and people can get some value from it and some entertainment from it. That part of technology, that aspect that younger generation has a really good grasp on is killer. But then also we have to remember the importance of like slowing down and having a conversation with somebody, asking people questions, right? Like, why do you do this?
Right.
What's in it for you? Like really getting to know somebody on a personal level, because if we lose connection to this personalization, to the ability to really connect to somebody deeper than just an image or a facade of what they are, like the human to human interaction, then I think we miss out on a lot of opportunity to make a bigger difference in the world, you know?
No, agree, 100%. It's like with all of the information that is just ubiquitous. I mean, if I were to go and open my browser and just search um, best AI platform, I'd probably get 100 different responses for like different nuance. So the amount of information
Mm.
out there and knowledge, I'd say, is so incomprehensible that it's overwhelming.
Dude.
But in this age of all this information, it seems like in many ways, and not all the time, but this sort of newer generation are discounting wisdom. Like, and not so like, oh, like, what do you know? Like, and it's like the tried and true test of what you were just speaking to: human relationship, human connection, the thing that keeps us grounded and having the human experience in a way that's meaningful. Uh, I don't think anybody's epitaph when they pass away is going to say, "I'm so glad I had my face in my computer every single second of the day and had no meaningful relationships ever." Like that's not going to happen, right? And yeah, I noticed that wisdom seems to be on the back burner, and it would be really great to get it pushed forward.
Yeah. This made me think of something. I kind of I'm getting a little emotional with it, but if I want to share it, is that Katie's cousin is like I think in August was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and he's a guy that I met when I moved up here to Idaho, and I'm really great friends of their family. In fact, so good that anytime that I'm with them and they introduce me to someone, they introduce me as their cousin. Which is really
cool.
great. But he's 55, and last week he had a turn for the worse after going through all the treatment, and he's at hospice at his home. And Katie and I, on separate trips, went out to see him this last week. And just in relationship to what you're saying, like we sat there and we talked about. I had a great talk with him. We talked about some rides we'd been on, some jokes he'd played on me, something. I teased him about stuff. But he does, his phone's done. He doesn't pick up his phone. He's like just there with the people that he can be in those moments when they're there, and it means the world to him. That human connection, when it comes down to the very end, that's really what matters, And I think about life, like that's what matters the most for me. I want to be able to be as connected to the people in my life that I love the most that I possibly can. And another thing I thought about too is this post I saw the other day. It said, "Don't focus so much on social media that you forget to build your business." And that made me think similar thing. Like for a long time, I focused on creating this really great social media following for myself and for Spotted Dog Yoga and Sup, which actually didn't turn out to be all that great. It's just good media content. It's like we don't have a shitload of followers. I spent a lot of time on it, and then like I was like, wait, there's not a lot of revenue coming in from this. And then we had this shift where I was like, I got to get on the phone. I got to talk to people. I got to go walk in places, shake hands, meet people, start doing that. And everything started changing, So I think we got to just remember what we're talking about is so important, dude. He won. Rory won. That was killer. I saw you were with your daughter, and she was getting autographs at the end, which was really neat.
Right.
What was the experience like for your family, and how is your family, man?
My family's great. So it was just my middle daughter, freshman in high school. She is on spring break and on a cruise with her mom. And so it was, and my oldest daughter is 31 and lives in Maryland, so she's not here, and with my granddaughter. So it's just my wife and myself and Catherine, our 8-year-old, who's also a golfer. Insanely, my other two had no interest. And so we got to go and have the best golf experience possible. Like we were hosted in the title sponsor's chalet, free food and drinks and, like the best of the best. I try not to get used to that because I don't want to, because it's really hard to go back to just walking around, right? And just standing around walking when you have these nice comfortable seats to watch. But it was a really, really great experience, to do that, especially with them, and share this game that I love so much with them, and get them to peek behind the curtain of something that makes me tick. Like it's golf to me. It is something I will play until the day I die, and it's something I'm very passionate about. And sharing that with them was great. So when we got after Rory won, which I had predicted, and then on camera, Rory called me his good luck charm. And I'm like, are you going to take me to Augusta for the Masters? I'm just saying, like, I'm open on Saturday and Sunday,
Yeah, my schedule's open. What do you got?
My schedule's open for the weekend if you need more good luck, buddy. But it was really cool because, all of those things were in this private reception, but even in the private reception for the title sponsors, the deal is Rory comes in with his trophy and they do a little press conference with him there. They ask him some questions and it's intimate. And so people feel connected, like, well, this is for the benefit of being a title sponsor. But then before that happened, they said, hey, can you come out here with your family? Because before Rory walked in, there were just a smaller handful of people that had a little more meaningful connection with him, which was still very brief. And that's when I just said, thank you. He was like, thanks. Like, you were really good luck. And you were right. Cause I predicted, his win. And so that was cool. And I just asked him if he would sign Catherine's hat. And he did, like, with a cheer, like a smile on his face. And these guys get asked for their signature more than anything probably ever. And I'm sure it's probably one of his least favorite things to do, but he did it with a huge smile on his face. And that was really good for Catherine to see. And then we had to remind her going home as we're driving, is like, we probably won't get that experience ever again. So I want you to understand how rare and how lucky you are to have had that experience. To keep her grounded in that. Like, we got the royal treatment and I was so very grateful for it. Mm-hmm. And I recognized that was a complete privilege to get those experiences. And Rory, I'm sure when he leaves there, has a complete, like, he's got to think about the next tournament, and while we're here left thinking about how magical it was, like, people in his shoes don't get that luxury, because to them that's work, so I would love to get to know, which I probably never will, but I'd love to get to know, like, well, what goes on in the mind of one of the greatest golfers to ever play the game day to day. I can't even imagine.
Well, it'd be cool, man. We got to just put it out to the universe that someday Rory McIlroy, we go a little bit deeper with Rory when this podcast is viral and the mindful dudes are looking for a mindful dude to come in and talk about putting it in the hole.
That was a little Scottish.
Ah, shit. Well, I've never been good at those kind of things, those accent
I don't know
things.
I don't know either.
Katie always says I've got like a Colorado accent, and I'm like, but like I'll put on like a little Western accent or something when I'm back home. Like maybe I do. I'm okay with that.
I get it. I pick up accents. I have friends across the pond, as they say.
Yeah.
We used to do this Ryder Cup style golf event called the Courage Cup with wounded service members from the U.S. and wounded service members from the U.K., which nice. I'd love to revive, and maybe I'm going to put that into the universe.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah. And when I hang out with those dudes, with no intention, I pick up a British accent. Everybody's mate, hey mate, and I'm like, what the? And I'm catching myself. I'm like, when have I ever said mate? It's just a natural thing that happens, and I don't know why. But I'm not mad at it.
I love it, man.
And they're not mad at me.
They're not mad at you. It's okay. Better. It doesn't offend them. It's cool, man. Well,
it's cool. Amen.
Amen. Well, hey, Dan Nevins, thanks, brother. You're awesome. I'm just stoked to do this with you. I mean, we've been talking about it for a while, and then of course we had a baby, and things got crazy and all that, and finally it's here. And so
we didn't have a baby. You and Katie had a baby. Just
so it's clear here. It wasn't Dan and I.
So we're clear.
That's not possible. Okay, so anyway, Katie and I had a baby, and things got pushed back, but now we're committing to do it every couple of weeks. Huh? You down with that?
I'm down. I'd love it. Yeah, I love connecting with you, and I think it's important to share about this mindful journey. And really, I mean, for me personally, I'm sure it's the way, and I talked to you about this, it's true. It's like, I want everybody to have the benefits of these practices and to live a life that's more present, because the possibilities from that are the things that you do want to put on your epitaph and your tombstone.
Amen, buddy. Cool.
Amen, brother.
All right. Well, hey, everyone, thanks for following Play It Hard and Love Big Radio. This is a special broadcast with Dan Nevins, Nick Clark, the Mindful Dudes, and we're going to be putting this out every couple weeks. So follow, share with your friends, give us a good rating. Let us know what you thought was the funniest, best part. Let us know what you thought was the most inspirational part. Let us know what you want to hear about. You can always.
Yeah, I was going to say, let us know what you want, what you want to hear.
Yeah, anything you want to say to listeners that are out there, Dan?
You know what I want to say? I just want to say thanks for listening this far, and I hope to talk to you again soon.
It's going to be an awesome journey, man. All right. Hey, see you, everybody.
Amen.
Peace.